conservative radio talk show host Hugh Hewitt. Hi, Hugh.
Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. I'll just ask you point blank, is Donald Trump racist?
No, I don't think he is, but I do believe that that is the 47% moment of this campaign cycle. And I heard earlier today on the other network, Joe Scarborough say it's a disqualifying moment for Donald Trump, and Joe Scarborough is no enemy of Donald Trump, not I, but it does remind us of the 47% error that Mitt Romney made, and actually it's much worse than the 47% error. So when Marco Rubio went after it, I was listening to the audio feed, he went after that, and he went after Hillary Clinton's server, which is her 47% error. And so you look for these moments that define a campaign, and I am reminded, and you'll remember this, Carol, in 2000, the Gore campaign dropped George W. Bush's DUI on him 5 days before the election. George W. Bush was 6 points up. It ended up with he losing the popular vote to Al Gore while winning the Electoral College. So I think you're going to see significant damage to Donald Trump. Enough to deny him wins tomorrow, I don't know. He'll have to come to our March 10th debate and defend this. And there's some rumors that he's going to try and skip out on that debate, which I think are actually being planted by the other campaigns, because now Donald Trump has to do what Mitt Romney did not do on the 47%, which is go after the KKK at every stop again and again. He ought to be calling every radio station in America to denounce the KKK, because that is a disqualifying audio. That Jake Tapper audio may be in every book about this campaign cycle in the first paragraph.
What if Donald Trump did as Ronald Reagan did back in 1984, because the KKK also endorsed Ronald Reagan? And Ronald Reagan, this is a quote from the New York Times from 1984, Ronald Reagan said, "Those of us in public life can only resent the use of our names by those who seek political recognition or the repugnant doctrines of hate they espouse." And then Reagan went on to say he repudiated the Klan's endorsement. So what if Donald Trump would come out and say strongly, and you know, in Donald Trump's mind, he has disavowed him strongly, but what if he came out and he mirrored the words of Ronald Reagan? Would that be his 47% moment still then?
Carol, the 30 years that separate 1984 from us today, the 32 years, is a year in which the media has shattered. So it's impossible to actually capture the audience again, but the audio remains inflexible and forever. And every Hillary Clinton ad, it will be in every Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz speech. It is there, it's marked. Now, Donald is doing exactly what he needs to do. He should be doing it on every show today to try and get it back. But that audio that you played, the Jake Tapper audio, you can't erase it. It's never going away. And can you imagine the impact that will have when that plays on the weekend before the November election in every African-American community across every swing state in America? That's what Joe Scarborough was saying this morning when he said it's disqualifying. Political professionals think in terms of 30-second sound bites and push-out ads, and that is a devastating piece of art, because no Republican, the Republicans passed the Civil Rights Act over the filibuster of the Southern Democrats, over the filibuster mounted by Al Gore's father. They beat back the white racists of the South, and this is important for the Republican Party to be known for. They are the party of Lincoln. They denounced the KKK. And so Donald has to, with that kind of passion, go out and attack this. It was a huge error yesterday. Terrible.
Yeah, but he's got the endorsement of a Southern Senator, Jeff Sessions, right, from Alabama. He came out and endorsed Donald Trump. He did get that, but he also saw Ben Sasse come out, a Nebraska senator, and say he'd never support Donald Trump. And I'll try and talk to Jeff Sessions. I'm sure Jeff Sessions has denounced the KKK more times than everyone that you'll talk to today, because he knows that the legacy of that group is evil. And so, and everybody knows who David Duke is. Honest to goodness, that was, I don't know if you can get away with the earpiece explanation on this one. It's a very bad, and it comes, Carol, after the tax return questions and Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz asking, does he have mob ties? Does he have no charitable giving? Does he have overstatement of wealth? It comes after Trump University, after Trump Mortgage. Yes, he's ahead in the new national CNN poll, but this is the kind of thing that over 2 weeks can sink a campaign, which is why I think on March 10th, he has to use that national stage that CNN will give him at our next CNN Salem Media Group debate to denounce right into camera. Let me put Ted and Marco aside. KKK is evil, and I denounce them and David Duke. That's his opportunity on March 10th. Unless some out there don't know who David Duke is, right? He was a former Grand Wizard for the Ku Klux Klan, right? And the Ku Klux Klan itself was responsible for the 1963 church bombings in Alabama that killed those 3 little girls.
You know, I can't imagine anyone who wants to be president not knowing who David Duke is. I don't know what Donald was thinking yesterday. He had denounced David Duke 2 days earlier. It's inexplicable. It's like Mitt Romney's 47% moment. It's one of those. It's like Gerald Ford saying Poland is free in the 1976 debate. Sometimes candidates. It's like Hillary Clinton saying that she left the White House impoverished. It's like Hillary Clinton saying she was named for Sir Edmund Hillary. She's got a long list of these as well, but none of them would be as devastating on election weekend in November as this one.
So let's talk about how Marco Rubio could pull it out, because the latest CNN ORC poll shows him lagging far behind Donald Trump nationally. Donald Trump has something like 49%. Marco Rubio has 16%. Marco Rubio, as you heard, has come out swinging against Donald Trump. He's also using crude, rude language. Will that do it, Hugh?
I don't think he's using crude, rude language. I think he's using innuendo and funny lines, and I don't think it's. I think it's a delegate hunt. I don't much care about polls. The polls have been so wrong. They were wrong in 2014. They were wrong in Great Britain. They were wrong in Israel. They were wrong in Iowa. They were wrong in South Carolina. They're just wrong. I don't know. It's a delegate hunt. You got to get 1,237 delegates. Right now, we get 600 delegates up for play tomorrow. When that dust settles, and when the dust settles on March 15th, I think you will see that we're going to an open convention in Cleveland. And I would not be surprised to see some combination of Cruz, Rubio, and Kasich get together and try and run as a ticket, maybe brought together by intermediaries who are coming from the place where we cannot have a KKK soundbite defining party. And that is, and Donald Trump has got to, as I go back to the March 10th debate, he's got to use that moment to kill this story and spend all day trying. He began on the Today Show this morning and doing exactly what he needs to do. But that Jake Tapper audio, that is going to be the defining moment of this primary season, I think.
I want to ask you before you go about John Kasich. Is there any path to the nomination for the Ohio governor?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Look,
really?
An open convention means anyone can go. And John Kasich is doing well in Michigan. He's going to win Ohio. He carried 86 out of 88 counties in Ohio. He's going to have some chips at the table when they sit down and negotiate in Cleveland. Who's going to be the nominee? Who's going to be the vice president? You know, who's going to be the Secretary of State? Who's going to be the Secretary of State? You know, there's going to be an open convention. It's not a brokered convention. There aren't any brokers anymore. But if you have delegates committed to you and you have sway over them, they will listen to you. So John Kasich has got a lot of options. But I think right now Ted Cruz can rightly say he's the only guy that's won something. Marco Rubio probably isn't going to win anything until March 15th, unless there's a stunner tomorrow. But this impact of these last 5 days, Trump University, Trump Mortgage, that's the Washington Post this morning, the tax returns not coming out, and now the KKK, the race has been thrown into disarray again. It's like the Oscars last night. It began with racism, and then it on climate change. In between, everyone wanted something, and it was a mess. And then the broadcast ended. So that's what we're doing right now.
All right. Hugh Hewitt, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Hi, this is Hugh Hewitt. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. Click right here to watch previous ones that you may not have seen, and click right here to subscribe to get all of them. And this is what you really need to do, is click right here to subscribe. Thanks for coming by. Don't miss a minute of any of the Hugh Hewitt YouTubes.